Hey, Hardin County, it's Michelle Lavis, and I wanted to give you an update on the commissioners meeting today. So Luke Underwood came in, and he's the county engineer, and they had this great big discussion about the packaged sewer plant out at Root Addition. I just want to tell you guys, I have never seen the commissioners so engaged in conversation. They actually asked a bunch of questions, had discussion amongst themselves, and just fully engaged in the conversation. I have never seen it happen in like the 2 years that I've been going. I was so impressed. I'm not totally excited about the decisions that they're making, but I know why they're making their decisions, and this is what Open Meetings Act, sunshine laws are all about, is having these discussions. So I was thrilled nonetheless. Okay, so basically, Root Addition doesn't have sewer, well, they have sewer lines. They have a little sewer package plant that is appropriately sized for their community, but they have a lot of extra water going into it, and it sounds like downspouts are being fed into the system, because when it starts to rain there in like 15 minutes, there's a sharp uptick in flow. They've gone out and smoke tested in the past and told people to unconnect from the sewer system, and so either they're reconnecting or new people are connecting in, because there's really nowhere for the water to go. They don't have a storm drain system there and Root Addition, and kind of the houses are up on a hill, and you've got kind of a single line where it's kind of the bottom, and so they're the ones being hit with all the runoff, and it, like I said, doesn't really have anywhere to go. Just poor planning. Luke talks about whoever the commissioners and the engineer and whoever signed off on it back in the day should have made sure they had storm drains in, but they didn't, and so they have this problem. So now they've gone to the EPA, and they're above their recommended flow rates because of the storm water. And so, but there's nothing wrong with the system. They have updated the meters and the pumps and the sand filters and all those things, and actually it's good for another like 20 years is what Luke is thinking. The problem is that there's sewage coming up to the top of the ground. Well, they've investigated, and it's actually the houses on the other side of 144, which they think were built before Root Addition, and of course they're kind of up higher, and it's kind of running down. They're on septics, and of course the problem that we're having in Hardin County and all over in rural America is that the land that you used to be able to get a septic on is not the land you can get a septic on now, and you need an acre, 2 acres to get a septic, and they don't have that, and so then you have to go back to the EPA and get a special permit to get a sewer in there. Now they talked all about having those houses, if you might be able to get rid of the rainwater, then you would have appropriate flows that you can add the houses, or the 1 or 2 houses that are the problem, into the Root Addition package plant. So that's maybe a possibility, but it's going to take a couple years to gather the data and get it all fixed, and you have to do a smoke test and all those kind of things. And so but that could be a possibility. So here's where it gets a little bit hard, right? So kudos to Luke, because he definitely gives a large amount of information to the commissioners, giving them all these different options, because they don't know which way to go. As it stands, Root Addition is fine. There's nothing wrong with it. They are working to get the permits to do the smoke test so they can get people unhooked from it with their storm water. The problem lies with the houses on 144. Okay, that's a personal sewer problem. The health department has to get involved, which we know kind of the problems with the health department. They would have to go out and cite all of them, make sure they had appropriate working septic systems. If they don't, they have to get them upgraded, do all those things. But that's all on those residents. That has nothing to do with county. Now, here's the thing. and we've talked about this in the past with the other 2 package plans, is that these companies come in, they build these housing developments, they put in the septic systems, and then they gift it to the county. And then the county goes, oh, look, we have a sewer system, because Luke Underwood is the sanitary guy, so he has the credentials to go in and maintenance those and check those and do all things. And so we are gifted them as a county. We are responsible for maintaining them, which they do collect fees from the houses to do maintenance. It's very small. Okay, it pays for the maintenance and the upkeep of it, like, you know, but that's about it. Not replacement. We have paid with the ARPA money that, remember ARPA all those times ago? We paid for 2 new package plants to go in to service, like, I don't know, what was it? 30 houses, something like that, a small amount of houses, and we're paying like $150,000 to put them in a sewer. I know people who put in their own septic systems, $10,000 per person. So why are we as a county paying for these houses to get free septic systems put in? I don't know. I don't like it. This is a person who doesn't like it. So we have this package system out at Rid Edition, and if it's fine, don't be touching it, because we're the ones paying for it. If the houses across the street have issues, then they need to do their best to fix it. Now, Luke says if the EPA gets involved and they find out that too many of the houses on that row have incomplete septic systems, then it comes back to the county commissioners and say, hey, you have a problem. You need to fix it. That's what happened south of town, which is fine. Go fix it, and then assess those houses to pay for their own sewer systems. It's that simple. You pay for your own sewer system, collect the bills, right? The other part of it is that there's like, 25 acres on the other side of Rid Edition that are not developed. Now, what they're talking about, so Luke brought up Wessler Engineering to come in and do a study. So they can do the smoke tests on their own. They can do the sewer corrections, the sewer overflows on their own. The commissioners agreed that they're going to do a meeting with Wessler to talk about updating that sewer package plant, which isn't bad. You know, we got another 20 years updating that package plant so that the other land can be developed, right? So they can get, you know, more housing, which we do need more housing, but we have more housing in the country. You know, Kenton needs more housing. So maybe if they annex in, that was the other option, that they could take out the package plant, right? Get rid of it and put in a lift system and connect to Kenton, which again, then it would be assessed to the residents, and then you would have to pay into sewer and those kinds of things. So they could do a lift system, connect into Kenton, be annexed into Kenton, and on their way past Myers Edition can be connected in, because they're under, I don't know if they have EPA violations, but they are real close, because they're all on very old septic systems in that little neighborhood, and they don't have anywhere to upgrade their septic system. So is it a plausible plan? Yes, right? Wessler comes in. Only other thing is that, you know, the Wessler plan is going to be like $30,000-$40,000, and the commissioners were like, oh yes, let's just go ahead and do the plan because it's only $40,000, and then it'll give us some options. Well, that's not what they said when Alger wanted to buy their engineering plans that were $50,000 so that they could do their upgrades. Oh, that was a big deal. But if they're the ones spending the money, anyways, they did get their money. It just, the attitude that went with it. So anyways, Wessler's coming in. Is it feasible for them to change, put in a lift system, go catch Myers Edition, pump this all into Kenton? I think Kenton can handle the rate increases. I mean, it's kind of a long ways, but they can do it, right? But as a county, I don't want to be the ones paying for it, right? And as a city, are we going to be paying for it? So It needs to come down to, if it's your sewer system, somehow you got to be collecting the fees to do it. And if you're only collecting $10 or $15 or $30 for sewer fees from the county, right? The county engineer determines these fees, and it's not enough for replacement, and you have to rely on the county taxpayers to do it. It just hurts a little from a county perspective is all I'm saying. So we will stay tuned to how this all develops, but that's kind of what's going on. And like I said, at least there was discussion. We know where things are standing. The other thing that happened today is the hub came in. We talked about they were in a week ago about the opioid money, and so there was discussion there. And other than that, it's a pretty good day. All right, we'll talk to you later, Hardin County.